Welcome to another edition of In the Spotlight, brought to you by Crimson Cloak Publishing, the earth-friendly publisher with books for both adults and children in a wide variety of genres, available in paperback and hardcover, as ebooks, and with some audiobooks as well. In the Spotlight is a wide-ranging weekly interview show with authors, entrepreneurs, professionals, and other experts. Your host is Cynthia McGregor. Opinions and views expressed by the guests or hosts on this show do not necessarily reflect the opinions and views of the creator, Crimson Cloak Radio, the network, the hosts, or sponsors. And now, here's Cynthia.
Thank you, Carly McCracken, and welcome everyone to another edition of In the Spotlight. My first guest this week is Craig Kolavo, and Craig and his wife Amy live in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina with their two dogs, Roxy and Lola. Craig enjoys hiking, biking, yoga, and personal development. He's a father, an entrepreneur, an artist, an author, and a philanthropist. 100% of the ebook proceeds from his new book, I Am God in Disguise, So Are You, will be donated to water.org. You can learn more about Craig and his mission at awesomelife.com. Craig is on the show today to talk about his new book, I Am God in Disguise, So Are You. His mission is to inspire others to awaken on their spiritual path and join a long overdue spiritual revolution. Welcome, Craig.
Hey, Cynthia. Thank you so much for this opportunity to come on your show and share a little bit of my message with your audience.
Well,
I greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. Tell us, Craig, what was your inspiration for writing this book?
Sure. So it's funny because my original inspiration was simply to share with my kids some of my life experiences, some of my aha moments, the good, the bad, and the ugly, so to speak. I don't know, maybe all parents feel this way at some point. You know, why should my kids have to go through the same pain and suffering and struggles that I went through? So just to clarify, my kids are young adults. They're in their 20s now. So I didn't want anyone to think this was a children's book, but so I've been a seeker, Cynthia, for decades, and I've been journaling for many years. So I pulled out my box of dusty journals and I spread them out across the kitchen table and dug into this project of trying to organize and just trying to get this into some kind of chronological order that I could share these experiences with my kids. And, you know, something strange happened in this process. About 4 to 6 months into the writing process, I was able to step back and literally just see this story or this message jumping off the page at me. And I kid you not, Cynthia, it was like discovering a secret treasure map. Unfortunately, this map was in puzzle form, and these pieces were given to me over many years. So I guess what I'm saying is I didn't have access to this map when I was in my 20s. I wish I did. But this discovery of what I had in front of me, you know, this clear picture of this path, it was exciting and terrifying at the same time. I was excited, you know, for what I discovered, but I instantly knew that I couldn't keep this to myself, that this wasn't going to be something that was just going to be for my kids. For example, I knew someday I'd be on the phone with you trying to get this message out into the world. So I guess in summary now, a long way to answer your question, but in summary, my mission now, it's evolved. My mission now is to share this positive message with the world, to help awaken others on this path and to raise money for water.org. As you mentioned, I'm donating 100% of the ebook proceeds to water.org.
Well, now tell us about the book title, Craig. I am God in disguise, so are you?
Sure. Great question, because it's been a little bit controversial. I mean, I wanted the title of the book to be strong. I wanted it to be bold, somewhat eye-catching. This message, that we are all gods in disguise. This is not a new age message. I really kind of resist being lumped into that category. Cynthia, this message, it's actually age old. I have found the message about, having the divine within. I have found it throughout the Hindu scriptures, the Vedas. They're 5,000 years old. I found this message, throughout Buddhism, throughout the Bible. I mean, for example, I'm not a particularly a religious guy, but I found this quote: "Do you not know that you are God's temple and God's spirit dwells within you?" So to me, it sure sounds like I am God in disguise. And then, on a lighter note, the title of the book really perfectly reflects my philosophy that life is meant to be a fun, exciting adventure. And really, what can be more exciting than to be a supernatural being in disguise on a covert mission? So that's the story behind the title of the book, Cynthia.
Well, that raises an interesting question, Craig. How do you define God?
Sure. Yeah, that does clarify things quite a bit, because, being raised Catholic, again, I'm a kind of a non-denominational guy these days, but being raised Catholic, you're kind of raised to believe in this external, judgmental God. I mean, as kids, you're literally, you imagine this old man with a white flowing beard living up in the clouds somewhere, sitting in a throne, judging you, often angry. But there's nothing further from that definition. My definition of God today is more or less a life force, a vibrating energy that more or less animates every cell in my body. And this energy not only flows through me, but it flows through all of creation. It's actually what connects us all. So, I mean, even Einstein, when he would talk about spirituality and this invisible energy field, he said, listen, this is not philosophy, this is physics. So that is my adult, grown-up definition of God.
Well, Craig, I think you'd fit right into a New Thought church. Now, New Thought is not quite the same thing as New Age. They have a lot in common, but they're not identical. I am a New Thought person. In fact, I'm a New Thought minister.
Oh, nice.
I belong to a metaphysical church. I am not the minister there. I am a board member, but and sometimes I take the pulpit when the minister is unavailable, out of town or ill or whatever. But I'm not the minister there. I'm just a congregant. But I am a New Thought minister, and I do belong to a metaphysical church. And metaphysical is one branch of New Thought. Unity is another branch, not Unitarian now, Unity, that's something different. And
yes.
Christian Science is another branch of New Thought. and science of mind is another branch of New Thought, and I think you fit right in with the New Thought Church.
Well, great. Yeah, I discovered Unity Church many years ago, and that was kind of part of my path that led me to discovery. And yeah, I found that to be a great experience. Very positive, uplifting message. Again, non-denominational. Everybody was invited.
Yeah.
I really feel, Cynthia, that the message I'm trying to convey in my book is a universal message. I don't think any religion should be threatened by this message. I'm actually trying to take the reader back to a time before we were all separated by religion or nationality or politics or skin color. Going back to our primal way when we were born into this world as body and soul. And I think that's a common thread that runs through all religions. And I hope that I've gotten some great emails from a wide variety, from Catholics, from Jewish people, from Mormons, and they're positive messages saying, hey, we like your message, it's similar to what we believe in. So I do believe it might be a common denominator. There's something that could unite us all.
Well, now, what do you believe is our purpose in life?
Sure. So if I can put my message in a nutshell, and I'll answer your question at the end of this. I believe that we are all born into this world as a body and a soul, both equally important for this adventure that lies ahead. And I consider this to be our primal way of being. And I believe that all experiences through our lifetime, all experiences are designed to lead us to discovery, to discovering or to rediscovering that primal way. So call it whatever you want. Call it God, call it spirit, call it soul. But it's just all experiences are led to discover that sleeping giant, that dormant power that lies within all of humanity. And so I guess in summary, to answer your question, I believe we all share the same collective purpose as human beings. And really, Cynthia, this should be very comforting to some people, because I know I've heard a lot of people stress out about not knowing what their purpose is. Well, I believe that we all share the same purpose, and that's to discover this divine within that I'm talking about, to surrender to this power, and to inspire others on this path. I think we all share that same common purpose.
Well, now you just mentioned surrender. What are the rewards of surrender?
Great question. It took me, I mentioned the stages being discovery and surrender. It took me from the time I reached the discovery point, and the way I define that is in the book is where you finally look within and realize you're not alone in there. It took me from that day about 20 years. I'm embarrassed to say it took me about 20 years to get from that discovery to a point where I was able to surrender and really turn over the controls and let that part of myself, that divine part of my nature more or less, guide me from here on out. And the rewards of surrender, what I'm trying to do with the book, Cynthia, I'm trying to attract readers with promises of a personal transformation. In other words, the rewards of surrender are vibrant health and abundance and love. And don't get me wrong, these things are all true, and I go into great details how these are rewards of surrender, but I do have an ulterior motive, And towards the end of the book, you'll discover the ulterior motive is when you discover this divine within, you not only see it in yourself, but you see it in all of creation. And the amazing thing that comes from that is you no longer define your neighbors as the color of their skin or their gender or their sexual preference. All those superficial labels and layers just fall away, and you see your oneness. And in addition, like I said, you see your connection to all of creation. So the thought of poisoning the planet or polluting our world just becomes like an absurd notion. So these are just to answer your question, these are a few of the rewards of surrender that I outlined throughout the book.
Well, now, you've got a surprise party theory of life. Can you tell us what the surprise party theory of life is?
Yes. So I love this. To try to differentiate my book from others in this genre, I really want to just state, first of all, that my philosophy, maybe I'm going to restate this just briefly, is I believe life is meant to be this fun, exciting adventure. And one of the things you'll notice when you first pick up the book is I actually have 24 illustrations. They're cartoon-like illustrations throughout the book that kind of help tell my story. But getting back to your question, to kind of keep this on a lighthearted, feel, I like to think of, consider this. This universe has been unfolding for 13.8 billion years, and it's going to continue to unfold whether we like it or not. So why not like it? I mean, that's what spirituality is in a nutshell. And what happens is most of us, we create this long list of preferences, all these likes and dislikes. And you know what, Cynthia, on rare occasions, we get lucky and all the stars align and all of our boxes get checked and we have that one really great day. But, we're miserable all the other days of our life. So this surprise party lifestyle, one of my favorite authors, he's down there by you in Florida. His name's Michael Singer, and he wrote a book called Untethered Soul. And I went down to Florida and heard Michael Singer speak in person, and he talked about the surprise party life. He said we should live every moment of every day as if it's a surprise party. To have a childlike joy, wonder, excitement for what's going to happen next. And, my wife and I actually have embraced this concept, and we live our life that way. And, when challenging things pop up throughout the course of the day, we kind of have this inside joke now, and the two of us race to see who will be the first one to yell surprise. And hey, don't get me wrong. This isn't all rainbows and butterflies. I mean, sometimes we're crying and sometimes we're laughing. But to really embrace this lifestyle, theory, it's really part of a Buddhist doctrine. Buddhist doctrine says all of life is suffering caused by our desires. Once again, these desires are all of these preferences that we have. And the Dalai Lama was interviewed recently, and he said, to better understand this doctrine, you might want to substitute the word dissatisfaction. And so for me, it was kind of an aha moment. So all of life is suffering caused by our dissatisfaction. And that's just, Cynthia, it's just dissatisfaction with what is. So instead of being dissatisfied every day with what life is, let's learn to enjoy the natural flow of life and embrace the surprise party.
Well, is that how you remain optimistic in these turbulent times?
Well, I'll have to admit, it's pretty challenging these days if you turn on the news or read the newspaper. But yes, I believe there's a power at work there's a power at work in the universe that call it collective pain and collective joy. And what happens is in these highly emotional states, to give you an example, I was spent most of my adult life in Houston, and I lived through many hurricanes. And there is nothing more powerful that brings humanity together than a natural disaster. And when the rescue boat pulls up at your front door, they don't ask who you voted for. I mean, it's baked into our DNA. In these high emotional times, humanity rises to the occasion. We come together as one, and I see that happening in the world today, in the political era that we're living through, in the chaos in the world. I see this as one of these perfect storms, and I feel the positive change, a shift happening. I can really see people organizing and standing up and speaking up against hate and fear mongering. And I think in hindsight, we're going to see that this era we're living through right now is going to prove to be a blessing in disguise.
Now, Craig, you've got in the book, you've identified 6 stages in the game of life. Can you briefly explain that to our listeners?
Excuse me, I was gagging on my water here. Just unfortunately, we don't have really time to go through those, but just to touch on them, I say that we all enter this world. We start our spiritual path, obviously, at birth. And kind of in a tongue-in-cheek, humorous kind of way in the book, I call it alien birth. And the reason I call it alien birth was the definition of alien was just so perfect. It's any being foreign to its current environment, an outsider belonging to a very different place. You see, I believe at birth we're all pulled from this invisible world of pure energy into the world of form. I mean, even doctors say that somewhere, I think between the 22nd day to the 30th day after conception, this spark of energy seemingly appears from nowhere. And, they often call it a heartbeat, but it really isn't. I mean, at that stage of development, the heart's not even fully formed. So yeah, I call it alien birth because I just kind of picture, we're this coming from this invisible world of spirit into this world of form, and it's probably pretty frightening. Like an alien coming to a strange planet. So we quickly move from that stage into the school of life, and the school of life, like any school, will test us and give us lessons every day. And again, like any school, if we don't study and if we don't look at those lessons and look for seeds of wisdom, we're going to be stuck in school for a very, very long time, and the lessons will become more and more difficult. So the stages, Cynthia, will eventually lead us to discovery. The school of life will really wear you down. So you finally, if you're stubborn and hard-headed like me, it'll take you a very, very long time, but you'll finally look within and say those magic words. Is there more to life than this? And that kind of causes an awakening or a rumbling. That sleeping giant that I talked about begins to awaken rather. And then we go from discovery to surrender, and that's really where the magic begins. And there's many, many reasons why we resist surrender. I mean, some of us, it's just a fear of change. I mean, others, for me, it was just easier to be a victim. I mean, it's really, really powerful to become a conscious player in life. But unfortunately, before we become a conscious player, we have to take responsibility for our current conditions. And a lot of us would rather just be a victim than to say, yes, it's, I'm responsible for everything I see in my life. And then after surrender, this is where the magic is. Our goal in life, we all share the same mission, and that's to inspire others on this path. And I try to walk the reader through this in kind of a fun, exciting way.
Well, Craig, we've got about 3 minutes left. I want to know why you chose Water Orb, what they are. But before we get into that, please tell our listeners how they can connect with you or buy your book.
Oh, sure. Fantastic. So you mentioned my website early on. So I created Awesome Life as a way to interact with readers. Also, I sell my book on the website. I've also created some inspirational posters and prints which go along with my message, which is in the book. And the website is awesome. There's no E at the end of awesome. It's AWESOMLIFE.com. It's kind of a play on words. You'll see the logo. It's like OM, like the Ohm symbol. AwesomeLife.com. That's how you connect with me.
And is your book available like on Amazon or anything like that?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, all the online booksellers, Amazon.com. You can also type in my name on Amazon, Craig Kolavo. It'll take you to the author's page where there's some information about me and my kids and my family. I just became a grandfather the other day. My daughter had baby.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Is it a boy or a girl?
It's a little girl, Aria, 7 pounds, 11 ounces. My first one, so pretty exciting. I just got home from Houston. I was there visiting.
Well, tell us quickly about water.org. We've got about a minute.
Yeah, great. So I wanted to donate the ebook proceeds to a charity, and I did a lot of research looking for the best ones to work with. And what really stood out, these guys, it kind of reminded me of the quote from the Chinese philosopher Lao Tzu: "Give a man a fish and you feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish and you feed him for a lifetime." There comes a point where charity alone is not enough. And water.org goes into these communities and these villages, and they're just not donating water. They're going in and they're helping build water filtration systems and plumbing systems and water wells. They're setting up microloans for these communities to build bathrooms and public restrooms. So, this sounds like nothing to most of us here in the West, but to have a toilet and to have safe water is life-changing to so many people. And water.org has been doing this for 25 years. So thanks, Cynthia, for letting me share that.
Thank you for being here, Craig Kolavo. Thank you and good luck with your book. Again, the title of the book is I Am God in Disguise, So Are You. Go out and buy it. And Craig is donating, again, the proceeds of the ebook version 100% to water.org, or go and buy the paperback version. And Craig, thank you very much, and good luck and God bless. Okay?
Okay. Hey, have a great day, Cynthia.
You too. Bye-bye. Well, now, before I get my next guest on, I have to tell you a little bit about crimsoncloakpublishing.com, where you can get fiction, nonfiction, children's books, adult books, and this week we're featuring Who is the Gray Man by Rod Martinez. He is a legend, he is a mystery, and he can only be seen by children. He is the Gray Man. His legend brings fear to all who know, because if you should lay eyes on the Gray Man, you will surely die. 10-year-old TJ is about to embark on a journey that no one in this small Florida town has ever taken and lived. Strange things are going on, and it all leads to one thing for TJ and his family: a one-on-one encounter with the most feared urban legend in town. Will he be the only person to break the curse of the Gray Man? Buy it at crimsoncloakpublishing.com. Again, that's crimsoncloakpublishing.com for fiction, for nonfiction, for children's books, for adult books. I'm trying to do two things at once here. Can you tell? I'm trying to get a hold of our next guest while I'm talking, and this isn't working too well. Hold on. I'm Andres Fragoso, Junior 26. I don't know why this isn't connecting. Okay, I'm having a little trouble here, folks. So Junior. Okay, I think we've got the right.
Hello?
Andres?
Hi, how are you?
Hi, it's Cynthia. We're ready to go. We're on the air, actually, already.
Oh, good.
So, let me tell my audience a little bit about you. Andres compiled an anthology for Authors Portraits LV at www.authorsportraits.us. He's in the anthology himself. He was in the exhibit with Ned Barnett, who was on, I think it was last week we had Ned on the show, and Robert Waters and other authors, and he's here to talk about that anthology. Right, Andres?
Yes,
okay.
That is correct.
How did you get involved in this project? First tell us a little more about the project.
Okay, so the project is basically about a photographer that I met, David DeHane. So we met a few months ago, and he had an idea of photographing authors for an art exhibit. And I was like, okay. And then he wanted to know more about the authors. And I was like, well, I know a few authors. And the more we talked about it, I was more interested in the project. I was like, what a great opportunity. Get to meet the people behind the story, especially in Las Vegas. Because you always hear their voices. You see their pictures, but you never see them all in the same place. So we figured that together we can do an author portraits art exhibit of Las Vegas and show all the authors and some of their short stories that are in the anthology.
How did you get involved in this project?
He invited me. We met and we talked. He was talking about other projects. I told him I was an author, and it went from there. And I got more and more interested in his idea of displaying authors across America, starting with Las Vegas.
Why did you decide to do it?
I thought it was a great opportunity for my fellow authors, especially for me, to be known across the country and hopefully around the world. It'd be a group effort if everybody participated, helping each other promote each other.
Was it hard to gather all the authors and the photographer in the same location?
Oh, yes. Because it was an assignment that I've never done before. He never done before. So I had to find a way to get people together, whether it was the author with the photographer. This is Las Vegas. Everybody works way too many different schedules. So finding the right moment and time to photograph someone gets challenging. I traveled to people's homes. A lot of them are great hosts. Traveled around the city. Met some interesting places. I lived in Vegas for over 20 years, and some places I didn't even know about. But it was challenging, but it was fun.
Andres, what is included in the anthology other than the stories?
The anthology, I wanted to make sure that we had a good photograph of the author and their biography, what they write, what genre, their website, and also their social media. I wanted to make sure that when people got the book, they can go find the author and read more of their stories. And also they have the short story, so they get to read a glimpse of their writing as well.
Andres, what made the art exhibit a success?
Everybody's input. All the authors participated. Many of them took an extra step to help me to make this a success. So it wasn't just me. It wasn't just the photographer. It was everybody, especially Jess Galney, the owner of Alpha Voyage Gallery, where we have this at. He was a great influence in helping me develop how it was going to work. A lot of the authors help in different ways, promoting it. One author became the MC. Our author who became the cover model, she became full-time MC, doing interviews. She talked with the authors, getting to know everybody, and we filmed the interviews as well.
Do you plan to do this again?
Yes, actually, some of the authors that I worked with on this project, we are starting another project called Literary Visions US. So this new project is similar to this one, but this time we're doing a little bit different. We are taking submissions from photographers to see what their vision of Las Vegas is, and put them together with authors who write a story about Las Vegas. So it's going to be completely themed to the city that they live in. It will have the author's vision of what the photographer's vision of the authors and their genre, and the authors will be showcasing their skills, talking about the city they live in. We're going to do it here in Las Vegas again, and then after this, we're going to go to LA, New York, and some other cities throughout the next few years. And a lot of the authors that participated in authors' portraits, they are now part of my team. So now I have a team that is going to make this great.
You speak of stories, Andres. Are these all fiction, or are there any nonfiction pieces involved?
We're requesting fiction and nonfiction, poetry, essays, everything, any genre. Of course, as long as there's no gore or unnecessary things that would be very, very offensive. Eroticism is fine as long as it sticks to the story. But we have a little bit of everything. There are some great stories in this book right now.
How many authors are involved?
33.
33.
In this particular, yes.
And are they all in the Las Vegas area?
Yes.
Are they all members of the Henderson Writers Group?
No, actually, not all of them. I actually got a chance to meet other authors from other writers groups. Some of them that even don't belong to any writers groups. So I had a big variety of authors all across town, which was great meeting new authors.
Good. Did you have like a get-together party or something to welcome everyone?
We did. We had the opening night. We had about 100 people. The photographer was mingling around with the authors. A lot of the authors' families came by to see their family members hung on the walls. Some authors who haven't seen each other in years met again. And it was a great opportunity for networking as well.
Well, Andres, tell me a story. Tell our audience a story about the book, because we still have almost 20 minutes to talk, and we kind of run out of questions. So
I won't run out of things to say, that's for sure. So we have some very interesting stories in this. Mine, well, of course I'm going to read mine, of course, but on the book itself, I have four authors actually that are incognito. So you see their picture, but you don't see their face, and no one knows who they are. So they write their subject matter, but they want to do it privately. One writes it a little bit. He's not anti-religious. He actually just mentions everything the way he feels. Another person writes political views, but in non-partisan, just overall. So I made sure that the authors were talking in general terms, and that's what it's all about. Instead of taking a political view or one firm view, I didn't think that was the forum for this. This is not a forum to dictate what you believe. This is more of an open forum for everyone. So it was great having a few people that are incognito, which was really great. Also, I have a great story about this. One of the authors, his name is Paul Atreides. Somebody in New York had seen our website and had seen our social media. That person saw Paul Atreides' information, went to the website and contacted him to offer him a job as a scriptwriter.
Oh, wow.
So when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, you mean somebody just saw your face on this project and called you? He's like, yep, that's what they did. They saw my face, they read what you had, they called me up, and now he has a job as a scriptwriter. That was a really, really great moment for me. And for him, of course.
Yes, of course.
You know, that this, and I truly believe that that's not the only thing that has happened. I'm sure other members have gotten something similar and participants of the project.
Would you like to read us part of your story from the book?
Yes, I would love to.
Go ahead.
All right, let me cut it. I just had it. All right, my story is called Don't Say It. Please don't say it. Wow, Eustace, you look so handsome in that black tux. Hey, Eustace turned to greet Nicasio. See, what did I say? You will look great in a white tux. I have something to tell you, Nicasio's eyes moistened. Now, come here to the mirror. Both of us in Texas. Who would have thought? Eustace's voice cracked. We look great. Nicasio turned to face Eustace. I need to talk to you. It's important. Eustace took Nicasio's arm and led him to the window. Look at my parents' backyard. They decorated for you. My big wedding. Are you happy for me? I am. Nicasio sniffled. Is that your mom in a red dress? They both chuckled. She hates Liz. Nicasio held his laugh. Listen, I need to talk to you. It's serious. Come. Eustace led him to his childhood bed and picked up a small black box with a white bow that reached for Nicasio's hand. This is for you. You have been my rock, my anchor, my light all through my life. A tear rolled down his eyes. I want you to have this as a token of my appreciation for being here today as the best man. Nicasio pulled his hand away and stepped back. I can't accept that. I can't do this. I have something to tell you. Please let me say it before I explode. Tell me after the honeymoon. I promise to make time for you. Eustace's voice quivered as he talked faster. We'll go have a beer at the lake as we did on our summer vacations. Just you and me. No, Nicasio turned to the window. I have to tell you now. I can't wait. This is very important for me. Eustace placed the gift on the bed. Don't say it. Please don't say it. Why not? Nicasio pulled out a handkerchief and wiped his eyes. Please tell me why you won't listen to me this time. I've always been honest with you. I never lied to you. I've always listened to you. Eustace placed his hand on Nicasio's shoulder. Don't ask questions you know the answer. Plus. Nicasio turned his head. Plus what? Eustace wiped a tear from Nicasio's cheek. You know what? You've never been 100% honest with me. Why do you say that? Because there's something you wanted to tell me for a long time. This is not the time. What? Time? You think I'm going to stop the wedding? Does it mean that we're not friends anymore? Don't be stupid, Eustace. We can't do this right now. Eustace picked up the gift box. I need to take this box. Open it or don't, it doesn't matter. Just be by my side when the bride walks down the aisle. Can you do that? Nicasio took the box. For you, I will always do as you wish. I will always be there for you. I will be there by your side as you give your promise to her. That was uncalled for. I'm sorry. I'm just angry that you won't let me tell you how I feel. I hate you for that. Eustace took Nicasio into his arms, then kissed the top of his head. Don't hate me. I don't hate you. I know that if you say the right words, my life will change forever. I'm scared of what you're going to say. Nicasio lifted his head. I'm scared now. I've been holding this for too many years. I can't go living like this. I have to tell you. Eustace held tighter. That makes this harder than it already is. Don't you understand? My heart is breaking, and I can't go back on my promise to Liz. I know what I'm doing. Do you? Nicasio moved to the door. Do you, Eustace? Do you? It's all about you. It's always about you and no one else, just like Liz. Eustace rolled his hands into his fist. Don't you dare bring her into this. The door flew open, and a bride walked in, wearing her white wedding gown. Tell him, Nicasio. Don't wait. I want to know what you're going to tell him, she demanded. I have to go. Nicasio ran out the door. I'm sorry about that. Stop apologizing for him. You're always taking care of him. I know you love him. He's your best friend since childhood. I can understand his jealousy. You don't understand. Eustace took a seat on his bed. I do. After today, you won't have to worry about him behaving like a little lonely puppy behind us. Liz made smooshy noises and paws in the ears. That's not funny. The music is playing. Go down there and smile. For God's sake, smile. It's a wedding, our wedding, not his funeral. Go and make your parents proud. Liz, shh. Liz left the room. Eustace composed himself on his way to the groom's spot. Moments later, all the guests waited for the bride. The officiant smiled to everyone. To his left, Eustace stood, handsomely as ever, and Nicasio by his side, smiling as if it was the last thing he wanted to do. The wedding march started. The bride marched alone. Where's her father? Nicasio hunched his shoulder. Wait, he's sitting in the back row with Lady in Red. The bride reached the podium, took Nicasio's hand, and pulled him to stand in her place, in front of the groom. Tell him now, or you'll regret it forever. She took off her veil and stood behind the groom. Nicasio mumbled. What? Eustace leaned into her. I love you. I love you too. Officiant, please marry these two men, Liz said with tears in her eyes and a smile in her heart. The guests took a sigh of relief and applauded. Finally, Eustace's father yelled from the background. The end.
Is that the end?
Hello? Yes.
Ah, okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Can you tell us the titles of the entries in the book? The stories,
This one's
the
called
poems. What
Don't
are the...
Say It. Sorry.
Hello?
The story, yes, the story was Don't Say It, Please Don't Say It.
No, the titles of all the stories in the book. The table of contents.
Oh, okay. Do you want me just the titles or the people who participated?
The title and the author of everything in the book. We still have
all right.
8 minutes.
Oh, that's easy. Paula Trady submitted Red. Keith Ballard, A Woman Apart. Ned Barnett, his funny story is Santa Claus versus the Second Amendment. Black Anderson, The Year the Game Changed. Darlene breathed The Liar's Lounge. Now that's a funny story. Vicky M. Bush, A.L. Campbell, she submitted AJ and Cassie. Tamia Dow, Are You Living the Life of Your Dreams? Tracy Downey, Fluke. Lauren Deanne, hers is Hollow Halls, wonderful music story. Nadia Fox, now this poem is naughty, but so is she. Fragoso Andres, Don't Say It, Please Don't Say It. Brian Gardner, Brandy Hoffman, I'm Humanity. That's actually one of the authors. He wrote, You Can't Take That Away From Me. Christine Johnson, she wrote a nice poem. Thomas Laurie, Paul McLaren, Colin Moll, he wrote, Can you prevent yourself from being reactively triggered? His blog is really interesting, by the way. Shema Montecristo, Un Echo, the title's in Spanish, but the story is in English. Nancy Nelson, her title of her story is Blue River Apple. Nancy Nelson is a wonderful woman who has Alzheimer's, and she is the spokesperson for the local Las Vegas Alzheimer's Foundation. She does a lot of fundraising for them. Then there's Lori Petrovsky, Donald Reggio, John Bear Ross. He's a veteran. He wrote Junction World, a really good sci-fi story. Valerie J. Runyon, her story, The Back Nine. I love that story. That's about her being on the golf course, but compares it to her life. Ray Solon, Judy Chime Logan. Her story was Burnt Toast. At first, I was staying with the story, and then towards the end, I was like, whoa, that had a good twist. I highly recommend it. Amanda Scanandor, Lauren Tallman. Now, Lauren Tallman writes erotica. She's the one that wrote How to Have an Affair and Not Get Caught. I know, right? But she wrote a parody about Gone with the Wind. And it's called It Flew Away with the Wind. So she kind of added erotica to a certain part of the book, and it's really funny. Tanya Todd, she was our opening speaker. Her story, Fierce Phantom Fear, she read it at the opening night, and she had a musician and a videographer with her. She did a great job of representing us. Jordan Ryan, he wrote Jeffrey, beautiful story. R.J. Waters, The Sunday Brunch. William Darrow Ricker, Dear Santa is a story, really funny. Kevin White, and also we have our David Dehaney, who was the photographer of the book.
Well, thank you.
So it's a great book. Yes.
Thank you very much. I think we'll cut our show a little bit short today. So, Andres Fragoso Jr., again, you can find the book on Amazon. It's called Author's Portraits LV, and you can buy it also at www.authorsportraits.us. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you very much, Andres, for being with us. And as always, folks, I'll remind you that we're here at the same time every week, and the show is brought to you by Crimson Cloak Publishing, publishers of a wide variety of books, fiction and nonfiction, children's and adults, for your reading pleasure. I'm Cynthia MacGregor. I'll see you here next week. In the meanwhile, remember to pass a smile along. Bye now.
You have been listening to In the Spotlight with your host, Cynthia MacGregor, brought to you by Crimson Cloak Publishing. For a wide variety of books for both adults and children in print, ebook, and audio formats, join us every Tuesday at the same time as In the Spotlight brings you interesting guests to entertain and enlighten you. I'm Carly McCracken. On behalf of Crimson Cloak Publishing, thank you for joining us, and we hope you'll join us again next week.